You guys, welcome to the podcast. I am honestly so excited about this. I have been wanting to do a podcast for as long as I can remember. And honestly, it feels like a dream has come true. Just something that was always in the twinkle there. But here I am. I decided that it was time for me to bite the bullet. I feel like the likes of Instagram, you just don't get the chance to put out as much information as you want because it's like a 6-second moment that you have to grab someone's attention. But I know that we need the information out there and I want to yap and I want to get the information out there. So welcome to the podcast. Now, this podcast is going to be all things women's health, mindset, training, nutrition, all of the things. I am a personal trainer, a nutritionist, and I obviously specialize in women's health. Now, I'm going to go over in this episode a little bit more about me so you can get to know me a little bit better. Like I said, who this podcast's for, what's to come. And I'm just honestly so excited to be here, to be chatting with you guys, just to talk about all things health, wellness, fitness, and women's health. So let's get to know each other a little bit more so you guys can get to know a little bit more about me and just spend a little bit of yap time with me. So I originally started my health and fitness journey when I must have been around the age of like 16. This is when I first stepped foot into a gym, and it was a local gym in the town that I grew up in New Zealand. And I remember I always had this goal of like, I wanted to look better and be better. So, bless my parents, they were like, let's get you a personal trainer, let's get you into the gym. And I was so happy with that. I had a female personal trainer at the time, and this one day I tried by myself to go up to the big weight sections, like where all the men were, right? Which was pretty ballsy of me at the age of 16, I feel. And I remember I must have been doing a shoulder press or something. And I had this male PT come up to me and he corrected me. And in that moment, I died. I don't think I actually went back after this, to be honest. I kind of blanked it out, but I don't think I went back. And now I know so much different, obviously being a personal trainer and having that experience now. But I've clearly must have been doing something wrong for him to come up and correct me. But also I know now that that was a little bit of a sales tactic back then. Like we're talking a while ago. So I know that now. But in the moment, like I said, I think I just died and I never set foot in that gym again, I don't think. Now, when I think back to that moment, that was probably the time that I really started to start struggling with my periods. And I honestly probably got hit with them even more going through my 20s, like my early 20s. And I'm not going to lie, it took me over 10 years, probably like 15, 16 years, I think it was, to get diagnosed with endo. And that was a wild ride just to get diagnosed with that. Whenever I'd go to the doctors in my early teens, it was always, it's just a bad period. And I understand now, like at this point in time of like learning and just development of medical, like endo wasn't really a thing. So it was just go on the pill. And there was always something deep down in me that was like, a pill's not natural. It shouldn't be like, why are we fighting something that we do so natural and what we are designed as women to do? So I always used to come on and off the pill because that rationale in my brain, like I just couldn't grasp it. So anyway, I decided to take my whole periods and things like that into my own hands by the time that I just got sick of it because I was getting to a point where I was having either a migraine every month or I was struggling with period pain. I was passing out, just all the joys of endo. I was just struggling with it every month and I was just like, enough's enough. So I had to take everything into my own hands. Like I was so unhappy within myself. Like my body clearly wasn't happy with me either. And so, like I said, I knew something had to change. So I started training with some friends at a local gym. Like I moved to Australia and yeah, I started training with some friends at a local gym. And I did dabble in a bit of PT here as well. And I didn't really enjoy it, if I'm being honest. I always left these training sessions with this PT feeling so sick, and it genuinely made me not want to work out. Like, there was no education about eating before you trained. Like, there was no support in that regard. I was honestly there just to do a training session, and it was like in, out, done. But, that's a part of the journey, right? And the evolution. I was about to say avulsion, but evolution of training as we've gone through the years. Now, I did keep going. Like I said, I was training with friends. I was always researching like new recipes, doing the Instagram workouts. Like, I was following workouts from certain websites, just doing all of the things, and as well as trying to navigate my cycle. Now, I really wasn't getting anywhere with doctors. I was having to fight to get ultrasounds. I was constantly getting told it was just a bad period. Now, and amongst all of this like long journey, I decided to go and study remedial massage because my migraines were getting so bad and I knew how valuable massages were. So, whilst I was studying remedial massage, I was also working in business management in the healthcare sector. And I knew how important the body was and how much mine was just struggling. So, remedial massage was absolutely amazing. It taught me so much about the body and just like how the body keeps score and how we really need to look after our body. It also showed me how important strength training is and actually how nutrition all comes into it, right? So it's like thinking about all of the pillars. So it's like emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, all of that ties in together. Now, eventually, after still doing like remedial massage on the side and doing business management in the healthcare sector, I decided that I needed to try and tie all of my passions together because it just kept coming up. I could see it in the staff that I was managing that they needed to look after themselves on all aspects. And I could see it just in life. And I would just talk to any Tom, Dick, and Harry about training, nutrition, all of the things. So I decided to make the leap from business management and I decided to step into the realm of being a women's health and fitness coach, which leads me to now. And it's crazy to think the journey that I've been on with all of that. But it's taught me so much, right? And the biggest things that I think have taught me during this whole entire journey with myself and the biggest things that I've come across is that women in general just don't eat enough. And that includes myself. So, what we eat is convenient, and we have always been taught to eat less and do the whole move more thing. Now, you can think of this in a couple of ways. Like, one, we're time poor these days. Like, women do so much, whether you're raising kids, working full time, whatever it is, there is so much going on in our lives these days. So I totally understand being time poor. And we also still have this belief that women need to shrink themselves. And I see this with every single client. They always come in wanting to lose weight. And I think this really comes down to like, why? Why do you want to shrink yourself? Why do you want to be smaller? Now, saying that, like, there is some people who do need to lose weight. Like, I totally understand that and who have that belief. But it's not always the time that we need to lose weight. Okay. Sometimes we're just under muscled and we need to actually build some muscle on our body. And that is normally the thing that gets people, and they don't understand that. They think that they just need to lose weight. So it's always a question of like, why do you want to be smaller? Is it the fact that you need to actually build some muscle? And sometimes we need to go inwards a little bit more and we need to think about this. There's also, like what I mentioned earlier, about how the body keeps score. And I saw this so much working as a remedial massage therapist and like working in healthcare as well. And when I used to do face to face training as well, like I saw it all of the time. The body keeps score. And emotions are energy emotion, right? Like that's what the word stands for. So when I was doing things like personal training or even massage, you would see people go through all of the emotions. And I reckon this is honestly why so many PTs end up being like counselors and the same with massage therapists. We end up hearing people's life stories because it's energy and motion, right? Like the body holds onto what's going on. So it's really important to know that if we need to move our body, we need to support it in different ways. And we can't just like hold everything and shove everything down. We need to process it. And it happens in so many different ways. And then nutrition isn't just food. This was like my biggest life lesson, is that there's so much more to just food and just nutrition. And when you realize this, your whole mindset around food is completely different. It's no longer a convenience and just like grab and go. You are like respecting your body so much more when you start fueling it right and start understanding that there is more to nutrition. So, for example, like I learned that foods like omega 3s, so you think about chia seeds, any like sardines, mackerel, that type of stuff. It's there for inflammation. And if we're not incorporating these types of omega 3s into our body, which I tell you now, majority of people do not eat enough omega 3s, it's not helping clearing out inflammation in our body. So for someone who was experiencing severe endo symptoms, I was absolutely gobsmacked that I, instead of just focusing on taking pain relief or ibuprofen, I could incorporate the likes of omega-3 foods, and it was going to help support the inflammation in my body. Yes, this is all contextual, but you also want to be able to set your body up to be fueling right, right? Like you don't want to just rely on pain relief. Like there is more to things than just, oh, okay, here's a sandwich. I'm just gonna eat the sandwich and go. I know that for me, deep down, that I needed more than just taking pain relief. Like I needed to understand the why behind what I was doing. So it was really understanding that nutrition is more than just food. Now, what I'm going to be teaching you guys about, or like what I want to happen on this podcast, and if you hadn't guessed it already, is that this is going to be all things health, fitness, wellness, mindset, all of that type of stuff. Because I really wish that there was someone or something like this out there when I first started my health and fitness journey. And I really wanted a space where I could just like learn more. And this, I guess, a little bit in a selfish way, is what I want this podcast to be about. I want to be able to give you guys the information that I needed when I first started my journey, and whether that's to do with hormones or whether that's to do with strength training, nutrition, mindset, like this is what I want this space to be. So when I was really outlining this podcast and like what I could talk about and who I wanted this podcast to be for, it's thinking about the women that are constantly like starting over, doing things either all or nothing, that aren't getting the results, who are confused about anything, about all the information that's out there, right? Because we know now that the more information we consume, the more it paralyzes us. And there is so much information out there. Like I even know that and understand that. So if that's you, I want you to stick around because I'm going to be releasing a podcast weekly, which is so exciting. But I look forward to chatting to you in the next podcast, and I will speak to you soon.